Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. I'm joined by the cast and crew. Do you know what I'm saying? The boys in blue, but really, yeah, apart from the new background, it is good to be not talking about the games anymore because I feel like we all need that. The summer has begun, and now we can just, have our own conversations. And even this season, or this summer, I'm pretty sure we'll even have some nostalgia as well on this show and look back to the happier times where we used to just dominate, cup finals and whatnot. Speak about our best moments and things like that. So, but without further ado, Younes, my brother, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. End of the season. I'm happy now. I'm chilled. It's all over, finally. No more heartbreak. Yeah, man. I'm good, man. I'm good. I hope all of you are good too.
And Miz, my brother, talk to me. How you feeling?
Yeah, good, man. Just running out my holiday here. I'll be leaving for Sydney tomorrow.
Dalek Miz.
What happened to your audio?
he turned into a Dalek.
You might have to come out and come back in, bro. It is. What is going on? It sounds like as if you've just come back from a night out over there.
Can you guys see me now?
No. You've got to come back.
You sound very robotic.
Yeah.
God, let me come back.
Miz is in the old crash pad.
I can't even say McDonald's Wi-Fi because he's on the other side of the world.
Yeah, it's true. What chains over there could we say where maybe the Wi-Fi would be bad? I'm trying to think. I don't even know. I was saying as well. We was going to have a situation where I was thinking we would review the players, but I'm not going to put you guys through that. Or the viewers through that because nobody wants to review anything. Nobody wants to review this squad. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to bit by bit build our team for next season, starting from in goal and working our way up to the forward line with our own, first and second choice in each position that we would want, whether it be from the loan or whether we sign or whether the player stays, whatever. And I'm sure we're going to disagree, so we'll probably debate our players. Miz, let's test you. Let's just see. Are you back?
Are we back? Am I back? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
come on. Yeah. You're back.
I'm sorry, man. Internet is a bit of a nightmare in these parts of the world. But yeah, as I was saying, wrapping up my holiday here. We're leaving back for Sydney tomorrow, and yeah, man, what a pathetic way to finish off the season. I'm just glad it's over. We can look forward to the summer window. It has to be a lot more entertaining than what the season was. So
yeah. 100%. I think the summer's going to be a bit of a blockbuster. It has to be. I think we've seen Tuchel's comments apparently with his his conversation with Todd Bowie after the Watford game is saying that, listen, we don't have a lot of time. We need to be decisive. We need to be quick, and we also need to do a lot because we are not going. I mean, as it stands currently, City have already improved on their team from last season, and the window has not even opened. They've signed Erling Haaland, they've signed Alvarez, who people forget about, and they're going to probably lose Gabriel Jesus, maybe.
Matisse, forget about City and Liverpool. I don't know if this is true. I saw some reports saying Bowen went to Newcastle. Is that true?
Yeah, I think that might be fake. I thought it was true. And then I checked and I looked around. I think it's fake. I think he's trolling.
Hang on, who?
But
the West Ham player,
Bowen, yeah.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No. But Kamara did go to Villa. So that's another DM gone. Tchouaméni looks like he's going to Real Madrid. And a midfielder at PSV, who we've also apparently been looking at. Is now being linked with Liverpool.
For flips. Can't they just disappear?
Because obviously if Liverpool are not going to get Tchouaméni, then of course they're going to go for him. So we are.
What do we know about this guy, though, Matisse? What do we know about this guy, though?
I don't know. I don't know too much about this guy at all. I haven't watched him. But yeah, we don't have many options. It would seem a lot of players seem to be, going elsewhere. Basuma was linked with Aston Villa, which was weird. To partner with Kamara. So
just give us Declan Rice, bro. Just give us Declan Rice.
Even so, apparently Declan Rice is staying one more season.
Yeah.
So
150 million.
Options are getting scarce. The thing about Sangare that I want to say is we have a very good history of Ivorian footballers.
True.
Be a shock if he were to come in and flop. So
if Liverpool are looking at him, then he's already got my seal of approval. we should just look at whoever Liverpool are getting and be like, oh, yeah, we want him to. Yeah,
that's a couple. But you know, let's not have a scouting team. Let's just follow what they're doing and try and snap the play before them. So
yeah. 100%. That's the best way to go about this now in the future, because obviously our scouting team and our data-driven analytical recruitment is not in place yet. Bowie's not even in place yet, let alone all that. So I'm thinking maybe January next summer that will actually be in place properly. Maybe Marino and Buck won't be here. I don't know. After the transitional phase. Right now, this summer we're just winging it really. But yeah, listen, guys, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna build our teams each position for position, and I'm sure there'll be a few talking points and debating points, and I'm definitely going to throw in a few spanners in the works for sure. I know that. But let's start with the goalkeeper. I feel like, well, do you know what? There has been a few people that have said that Mendy's form has obviously dipped, and I would say I would agree with them from a ball playing aspect, especially. He's definitely had some ropey moments. But for me personally, I don't feel like we're going to be obviously replacing our number one, nor should we. I feel like he's a player that you give another season to just, get back to his best. I don't even think it's even been that bad. I just don't think it was to his high standards that he set prior when he was.
It's not a problem.
I don't think so. I do think he needs to sort out his ball playing ability though, and stop taking, the piss almost playing out from the back, because he's had some very bad moments where he's given the ball away a lot more often than I'd expect. But for me, I think he's got to go. And he's got to stay, and Kepa's got to go. Kepa on that wage, and also just for his own good, if he's obviously wants to be a starting goalkeeper, I don't think he did all that. Yeah, as he should. He didn't do all that at Athletic Bilbao to suddenly now become backup goalkeeper. The World Cup's coming up as well. I'm hoping that helps push for a move, helps our wage budget come straight back down to normal. And then we've got Mendy on 52k a week, and some other goalkeeper probably on like 30, and that is just if we're talking about resources and that is beautiful. I am loving that.
I feel like that's exploitation, bro.
It is
2k a week for men. That's outrageous.
We need to start exploiting these players now.
But you know what? Mendy's the one who's agreed on that. So
it's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
True. And do you know what? He wasn't unemployed a few years ago, so I'm not really surprised he's agreed on that as well. I think he's just happy to.
That was at the job center
contract. Yeah, I think he's just happy to get the contract.
He was
knocking on the door.
I don't think Mendy was now suddenly gonna be like, I want 200k a week. Do you know what I mean? Just doesn't seem like his personality, especially from what's happened previously. The second choice goalkeeper I would go with would be. I'm gonna go with someone like Fraser Foster. I think he's available, Premier League proven, and I think also with him is that he's very tall, and I want a goalkeeper that can command the box. I want someone that can command the box. Sam Johnston is another option. I think he's available on a free as well. People have mentioned him, but I think Foster. I've watched him at Celtic. He was great at Celtic. Champions League experience at Celtic. When they were great and they were playing Barcelona and all these games. Southampton doing a good job, I think, from what I can see. And like I said, he's just ridiculously tall, so at least he's going to keep claiming those crosses. And he's back up anyway, so I don't even expect him to get too much game time. What about you, Younes? What would you do in the goalkeeping department?
It's an area where you don't really go in to try and find the best. It's just who's available, who's the best out of those that are available, who's someone that we're not going to pay huge money for. They're a backup, but who has good ability. I don't think we'll be looking in-house, in terms of goalkeepers. I think that maybe for the third goalkeeper, yeah, but for the second, the names you mentioned are probably fair enough. Yeah. Or, let's just disrupt Arsenal and get Ramsdale and just stick him on the bench.
I seen a report that
Arsenal probably.
Yeah. I seen a report that Tottenham were looking at getting Fraser Foster as well to back up Hugo Lloris. So.
Oh, then get Fraser Foster.
Yeah, that's why I went for him mainly. It's
Make life hard for them.
just to mess with them is really the main purpose of this. Miz, what about you? Are you?
They must suffer. They must continue to suffer.
They won't be suffering for long.
I know they won't.
Burnley's relegated.
Pope
Is Nick Pope up for sale or
Nick Pope's a good one.
Nick Pope's a good shout.
is he too good to be a 2? Maybe.
Yo, go to the Championship or come and play at Chelsea. Pick one.
True. Younes, good talk there.
There you are,
Yeah,
knocking
Nick
on the
Pope.
door. Negotiation.
Knocking on the door, man. Send Younes there. Knock on that door. Nick Pope's house. We could probably get him for cheap. He's a very good. He would be a very good option for backup. Can he play from the back? I don't think so. It'll be long. When Nick Pope starts, it's route 1. Hit along. But long to who? Do you know what I mean? We need some brothers to win some aerial duels. So honestly, I can't think of any other. Who else? Watford got relegated, right? Who's Watford's goalkeeper?
Ben Foster.
Oh, the YouTuber.
Oh, we
huh?
can't. We can't be having
the YouTuber.
That could be good marketing. I mean,
No.
you never know.
No.
Can you imagine him contesting with us, like the Chelsea YouTube content makers? Like, come on, bro, stop eating our viewers.
He's vlogging while he's meant to be saving the shot from someone.
He and all of us.
He's got the
would become
GoPro on.
spies.
He's got the
Yeah.
GoPro on.
Can you imagine? We'd get some great angles of any more bust ups in the change room with Fraser Foster vlogging it.
Oh my
it'd be quality.
Him cycling Cobham.
He's a legend, mate. Lukaku, mate. He's a legend. He's an absolute legend, mate. Absolute stellar. Absolute stellar lad. Stellar. Absolute top guy. Top lad.
Bro, imagine the stories
looking at him
every
like this.
single day, Matisse. Every single day. Oh my god, content, Younes. We're gonna be
Mad content.
loving it. Look, number 2, Nick Pope. I've not really thought about this, so who cares? Like, as long as Mendy. If Mendy gets injured, though, then there is a bit of a trouble. Don't we have anyone from the academy? Nothing from.
Well, we do.
Help us out.
Baxter's gone out on loan or something. People have been talking about him. I think we need to purchase someone personally. I haven't seen anybody in the academy where I can be like, you know, that's the guy we can trust in to be second choice. Third choice is something completely different, but second choice is different. It's a different situation.
Actually, you know what, boys? It is a bit of a concern, isn't it? Like, God forbid something happens to Mendy if he's injured, then we're screwed.
So it does need to be someone competent. Finding someone with good ball playing ability as well is tough. Definitely tough. Like, I think the suggestion I gave, I was just thinking of a standard Premier League goalkeeper that I know will perform to an average level. You remember when we had like Begovic in goal, deputizing Courtois? That was a good backup. You know, but he wasn't. You know, we wasn't really thinking about ball playing ability back then. But Begovic was a solid number 2. Kudachini is probably the best number 2 I've seen. He could have been easily a starter from top teams.
What about PSG? They've got like 7 goalkeepers or something.
You want to go and get Buka back?
Buka back? Who's that?
Is he Slovakian? He used to be at Chelsea, and we lost him to PSG on a free, I think, potentially.
Oh, Bulka or something. His name.
Yeah. PSG have got a lot of goalkeepers, but whether they're actually good is another question now. Carlos Navas.
We've got a goalkeeper who is, I don't know if he's 16 or 17. We signed him at the start of the season. I think he's Moroccan originally, but he's from Holland, and he's been sent on loan. He's on loan in League One, I think, or something, but he's up and coming. Okay. So that's someone to keep an eye on, because apparently he's good.
Okay, that's good to hear.
But not ready yet, of course, nowhere near ready. But yeah.
It's just difficult. It's difficult to find options. I think Pope is a good shout, but ball playing wise, I think we'd have to take a little bit of a hit. With anybody that we bring in, to be honest. I'm just looking at Foster. There's not many options, if I'm honest, out there. It's not great. Tim Krul, experience with Holland. Yeah.
Where's Robert Green? Get Robert Green back, legend.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about these names. Let us know in the comments though what you would do, because that's probably the most difficult position to replace, considering we don't really be having our eyes on backup goalkeepers every single day as a fan base. But it's still very important to get it done. So Do you guys what formation do you guys think he's actually going to play next season? Because it sounds like it's just going to be 3 at the back.
Yeah, wing back.
Yeah,
I think 3 at the back. Although I did read that depending on who we actually get, that's not a certainty. So it depends on who we're left with at the start for pre-season. Then a decision will be really made. But the plan is to stick with a back 3. However, he's open to changing that depending on who we have. So I think in the long run, a 4-3-3 in the long run needs to come back properly. But for now, I think a wing back.
Okay. So yeah, I think we'll stick with wing back in this conversation just because it's the most likely. Let's start with left side centre back, Miz. What are you doing over there? Because we've seen talks of a 20-year-old Croatian at Leipzig, little certain somebody. Everybody's clamoring to him. Then there's others that want more experience and they want an experienced defender to balance out this defense. That would be me. Who do you side with, or who do you want in this left side centre back position? Because obviously Rudiger's going. You got Colwell, you got Sarr, but I'm guessing you're going to want a starter. So who are you looking at for the first and then second choice?
100% first choice, Koulibaly. That's my first choice. We have to snap him up. I think there's a news that's going around that he's rejected their contract from Napoli. So big opportunity for Todd Bowley to make a statement right here, right now. Get that guy, wealth of experience, age as well, suitable in the sense that defenders generally get better after 30. And he's robust, no nonsense defender. Do you know what I mean? Younes just mentioned, especially African brothers out there, they don't mess around. So this guy, we need that. I think he's going to have that S-Housery about him as well. So he's probably the closest thing you're going to get in terms of Rudiger. And I think he'll be a strong character in the dressing room as well. And that's going to be very important. So for me, Kalidou Koulibaly as the starter and backup. Look, it can be a combination of many other defenders, but probably Levi Colwell if he performs well in the preseason. But look, it can be other players as well because Chalobah at times can fill there as well. But if there was one genuine backup, probably give it to Levi Colwell.
What about you, Younes? What would you do in this situation? Because Koulibaly's going to be cheaper as well, isn't he? He's going to cost what, 35?
It's about 30 to 35 million pounds. I think something around 40 million euros. So it's a nice price for a defender of his quality.
Considering who we let go of, and if we're gonna make some money, I guess if we're able to, we won't from Christensen or Rudiger. Alonso on a free?
No, they're trying to get money. They're trying to get money. Yeah. I wish.
It'd be him and Aspie that hopefully we can get some sort of money for, at least even if it's a bit. It would be a deal to get Koulibaly. I personally, because I don't know if we're going to buy 2 defenders or 3 defenders. There are links that we could be buying 3. So Koundé's one of them.
What would you do? Would you buy 3 or would you buy 2?
If it's possible to get 3, I'd get 3.
Would you?
Although, obviously, there is the question mark, because I think we have 3 centre-back positions. We already have Thiago Silva who's staying. If we're going to be getting Koundé, another defender, and another defender, then we've got Chalobah. That's 3 spots with 5 options. And I think that's good cover in terms of the new season with all the competitions. I think that's great. In terms of rotation, we've got to think about Thiago Silva as well. I don't think he's going to be playing every game. Correct. He's getting older.
Correct.
Levi Colwell, in that case, I reckon could be maybe going on another loan. I reckon if it's a Premier League loan for 1 season, I wouldn't be against that. And then a season after that, we can see, because then Thiago Silva would probably step aside. Koulibaly, if we were to get him 31, the transition will come with Koulibaly at some point. But having Gvardiol at 20 years old, I don't want to miss that opportunity, because I think that could turn into something really good for the long term, alongside Koundé, who's there for the long term too. So that could be, going forward, our 2 main centre backs with Chalobah as well, if he obviously keeps developing, and then we could have ourselves really, really well covered. So.
Yeah. So you would go at left side centre back. Who would you bring in? You'd bring in. for your two positions, for your two options? Considering that you're going to, so you can sign 3. So I guess you're giving us maybe 1 or 2 of your options in this position, depending on first choice and second choice. But
the 2 in left centre back will obviously, because Koundé won't be playing left centre back. I'm guessing he'll probably be right centre back. So left centre back would be Koulibaly or Vardio. I don't know.
How much do we know about Vardio? Like, I've seen a few matches. He's looked a little bit strange. I'm not someone that's watched Leipzig on a day-to-day basis. Watched a few matches here and there in the Europa League, and there's been mixed reviews online as well from the fans. I mean, is this guy 20-year-old? Like, is this what we want to do? Like, to compete with Liverpool and City? Like, to start bridging the gap?
The thing is, apparently, it's Tuchel who's interested.
I don't like this whole thing, man. I don't like this whole thing about Tuchel's interest. Tuchel's interested about keeping Azpilicueta as well. Like, Tuchel's interested about getting Declan Rice for 120 million. Like, this brother needs to come down and just be a manager. Do you know what I mean?
Now, you know, with Vardio, I mean, considering he's only been there for 1 season because he signed from Dynamo Zagreb for about 15 million. So it'd be difficult to get him in the first place, but because he's rated highly and because he's 20 and there's a massive ceiling there, his attributes are, I mean, he's quite tall, he's quite massive, he's quite big. He gets stuck in apparently. It could, I guess, work well in the long run, but again, it's an investment because he's 20. So you know, are there any other defenders of that age that are rated as highly as him?
Is he? Okay. So I have to ask because I do need convincing on this player because I'm kind of similar with Miz. Is that I've heard about this guy a lot online, and I think I've obviously gone back and looked at players that we've signed from Bundesliga, and we were all very excited for them to arrive, and then they've come in and they haven't really even outperformed Cobham, you know, counterparts in Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, etc. And I'm you know, I'm looking at Levi Colwill, and I'm thinking to myself, what about? And I haven't been watching this player, so maybe this is just complete naivety. But what about this player is so leaps and bounds better in terms of potential, where we need to buy him and loan out Levi Colwill because we're not going to have both of them. It sounds like, unless maybe we are. But if we are, then why do we need a 19-year-old centre back and a 20-year-old centre back and a 23-year-old centre back in Koundé and a 23-year-old centre back in Trevor? That's where my imbalance comes into it. You've only got Silva that's experienced, which is why I'm leaning towards like a Koulibaly or someone like that. But what about this guy is so special after 1 season at RB Leipzig, where he is just like an absolute must get? Because I don't know, I don't really feel like, yes, he's performed at the top level, I guess you could say in the top 5 league, but is he even ready to come to the Premier League and take massive responsibility at Chelsea? Because if he's not, then we're kind of just built. For me, I only like buying young players in positions where we have a lot of older players and we need a next crop. But I don't really see that at centre back. If we're getting Koundé and we've got Trevor and we've got Colwill, that's enough youth in the defence for me. If we're looking at, obviously Rudiger's gone, Christensen's gone, Azpilicueta's gone, Alonso could go. That's everybody there is over 25. They're all experienced. So I see that as we need to replace it with experience. And as soon as I've seen Arsenal this season with Gabriel, with White, with Tomiyasu, with Tierney or Tavares, with Ramsdale, it's all young and they cracked. And I'm just talking about us finishing in the top 4 now. I'm not even talking about us challenging for the league. Yeah. Tottenham are going to be right up our arse. And I think if we have too many young players in the team at one point, especially in defense, in a position where you're meant to have experience, I don't know how strong is this guy's first season in the Premier League going to be? I mean, the fan base couldn't even tolerate a little bit of dip in form from Trevor, who was actually really good overall, and then started to get a lot better again in the last few matches. People were slandering Trevor to the high heavens, talking about how, he's in the Malang Sarr category and he's not good enough, and he's average. And then he's actually put in some good performances recently, again, just like he did at the start of the season. Yeah. And I don't know if this fan base has the patience really, but I don't know.
That's the thing. With the fan base though, I think that's a reflection of the modern day era and just how it is. I think no matter who it is, I think online especially, there's going to be slander. No matter how good you are, you put in one bad performance, you're finished. I just think that's just how it is, and I don't think any player can really escape that unless they're putting 10 out of 10 performances every single season, every single game. Sorry. So in that aspect, I think that's what's become part and parcel of being a footballer nowadays. You kind of have to make yourself ready to deal with that sort of thing and just look long term and try and keep your performances high. That way you don't get as much. I think that's all you can really do. With Vardiol, I think on the aspect of when you mentioned the Bundesliga, I completely agree. But with attacking players, I think we will have PTSD when it comes to defenders or German defenders, or well, not German defenders, but even defenders that are based in Germany. I think that's different. I think that's because it's a completely different profile and a different issue. I think when you're looking at a Timo and all them lot that have come in, or the Germans that we're looking at and we're like, oh, they're not firing. When it comes to defenders, they don't have to do that. It's a different job. It's just having to defend really well. And to be honest, we don't. In terms of defenders from the Bundesliga, have we really got defenders? Is there enough example of defenders from the Bundesliga in the Premier League? I don't think there is that much. No. So with Vardiol, the fact that he's rated high, 20. He's done well at Leipzig. He's already a German. I mean, he's won one German Cup. He was quite successful in Croatia in terms of trophies with Zagreb. Already a fully fledged international. It's those signs. And it's like, okay, can we predict the future? No. The same goes for the other lads. So it just depends on who's going to be best to fit Thomas Tuchel and the way he wants to play. Those little attributes. So
I just worry, Younes, in the sense that we've just seen Tomori win the Scudetto with AC Milan. You know what I mean? Mark Guéhi has done so well in Crystal Palace. I just worry that we're going to bring in another person. Nothing against Vardiol. I'm not watching. The only time I've watched him was against Rangers, when Rangers absolutely dominated them in the Europa League. So it wasn't a very good look for Vardiol that game, because Rangers, pace, physicality, tenacity, everything that you can think of in terms of English Premier League flavor, Rangers was giving that, and it kind of looked like Vardiol was getting a bit rattled. It wasn't just Vardiol; it was the whole of Leipzig team. I'm just concerned. We bring in someone like Vardiol on top of someone like Koulibaly. I think Vardiol and Levi Colwell's it's a no-go. I think two youngsters in that one area, I'm not really advocating for that, just like Matisse. So if it's Koulibaly and Vardiol, surely Levi Colwell looks at this situation much like Tino Livramento last season and thinks, well, what's my pathway here? There is no pathway. Do you know what I mean? I've busted my backside for Huddersfield, and I think Huddersfield are in the playoff finals, if I'm right.
They are. They're at the playing Forest.
And there'll be Chelsea fans that say, oh, well, we don't have to make a pathway. Let them just fight for their place. And if they can't fight, well, you guys would have probably been the same people that said that we should buy maybe a young right back for competition for Reece James, right? Instead of letting it be Reece James and Aspilicueta. When you make it Reece James and Aspilicueta, when you make it Tammy Abraham versus Drew, when you make it Koulibaly versus Colwell, you still create competition in the fact that they can be benched for a senior professional that is reliable, that is a high standing quality. But you also say to them, in a couple of years' time, there is a spot opening up for you, just like as you would in the workplace. If you want to move up the chain in the ladder in the workplace, you need to see a gap. If there's somebody that is looking to retire in 2 years that you're working under, that is a gap. And you're more motivated to then perform and say, right, I'm going to prove myself so I can take over. If you're competing with someone that's young, the boss's son, and he's just got promoted, you're not going to get the promotion. There's no space. He's the same age as you or younger. There's no space. You're just going to leave. My thing is with this is that I think we have seen already enough times at the Championship, if you perform well as a young defender in the Championship or a young player in the Championship, Elise at Reading is another example. Chelsea fans want him now. Elise, if we was actually looking at him from Reading, we'll be slagging him off and saying he's not ready. But now he's at Palace, everybody wants him. Yeah. And we've obviously got countless examples ourselves. We've already seen, like you said, there's not many Bundesliga defenders that translate to the Premier League yet for us to see the evidence, especially young ones that have never played in the country before. Colwell's already faced up to the Championship battle and test in terms of physicality. We've seen Mark Guéhi step up. We've seen Tomori step up. For me, I've seen too many examples of championship defenders from our club do well and kick on and go and win Player of the Year at Palace, go and win the Scudetto. I'm not letting it happen again. If it's me, I'm not letting it happen again. Because this guy, Colwell, for me, is in terms of his age bracket, he is just as highly rated as anybody. And if we as Chelsea fans for the 5th or 6th time can't put ourselves down and be like, you know what, we're gonna use our own guy here, because it's very clear that these guys that are coming through, especially in the defense part of Cobham, in terms of like your Lampteys, your Livermentos, your Colwells, your Gurheys, your Tomoris, they're actually very talented. Do you know what I mean? And they need developing, but I always have to ask the question: how long is it going to take for someone to get to a level like a Reece James, or how long is it going to take for someone to even bridge the gap to say need to be ready, and now they are ready? And if that's 6 months or 8 months under Tuchel, that's worth it. Do you know what I mean? That's worth it. I mean, I'm still waiting for Timo Werner to adapt after 2 years.
Yeah.
So if you can't wait as a Chelsea fan for 8 months or even a season, look at Trevor Chalobah. Didn't spend a penny on him. He's at least good enough to be competition. But
you know what, Matisse? He's still
not ready.
He's going to raise his game when Koundé comes in. Watch. Chalobah's going to be like, you know what? I need to step up. And that's only going to be perfect for him. So
I'm going to go Koulibaly and Colwell. I have to see Colwell in this squad next season.
Yep. I think you've raised a very, very, very stellar argument, to quote Ben Foster. And yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go. Koulibaly and Levi Colwell would be good.
My point on Koulibaly, I didn't even speak about him, is that if we switch to a back four, I actually trust Koulibaly to lead the back four alongside Koundé or alongside Trevor or alongside whoever he's next to. Whereas if we, and obviously Koulibaly can go to the right and let Colwell come in, whoever, if we're not going to use Silva. Whereas if we go with a young defender like, Koundé and Gulavalu, or is it, what's his name? Vardio, sorry. If we sign 2 young players and then put them together in a back four, both of them have never played in the Premier League before. I'm not sure about that, I'm not sure about that. I know Koulibaly hasn't, but he's got so much experience. It's kind of obviously not the same level as Thiago Silva, but it's like a player that has just played for such a long time. When they come in, you just feel like a lot more comfortable and at ease. So yeah, I'm gonna go with him. So obviously those are the 2 left side centre backs. The centre backs in the middle. Who's it gonna be? For me, I would say Thiago Silva and Ampadu, because I'm gonna just push Ampadu into a slot. I'm not saying he's necessarily gonna play there, but he's played in a back 3 before. He would maybe be he would be like your last resort as in the 6 if you're going to keep him. And obviously he can play DM. So obviously Ampadu this season's he's played right back, he's played centre back, he's played in a back 3, I believe. He's played DM. He's even played as an 8 in a 3 or in a pivot. I'm not sure. He's played literally everywhere. He's the kind of utility player that can play in a multitude of different positions. And if we get injuries in any of those positions, he's someone that could just slot in and do a job. And I think that is necessary. Every team kind of has one. And I think he's a player that I would want to have around next season as long as he impresses Tuchel. So I'm putting him in that secondary position because all my other secondary positions are quite full, but not necessarily he's going to play centre back in a 3. He could easily play right or left, depending on injuries, whatever. So yeah, I'm going to put Silva and Ampadu in there. What about you, Miz? What are you thinking?
This is where it gets a bit tricky because I don't necessarily want to have a different player as a backup for every one of those CBs. So yes, frontline player for me is Silva, but I also understand he's going to be 38. Well, is he 38? I think he's already 38, something like that. Or he's going to be 38, something ridiculous. Anyway, here's the front line.
Remember, it will end up being a squad of. It will end up being a squad of 22 though when it's all said and done.
Yeah. So Silva the front line, but he ain't going to play every single game. It's a World Cup season as well. I think he'll look at managing himself, making sure he's there for the World Cup. So Silva the front line, Trevor Chalobah as the middle, because Chalobah has played in the middle last season that's gone by. And I think his ball playing ability, people underrate it. He's very, very confident and comfortable on the ball. And I trust him completely from that middle area. So for me, it'll be Silva and Chalobah to share that. But I also expect Chalobah to be a backup for another role as well. So just hold that in mind.
Yeah, good point. Trevor did play there against Brentford, didn't he? In the middle.
A couple of times. And he's done really well.
Yeah. You're actually convincing me maybe to swap Trevor and Ampadu for my secondary spots. But yeah. Younes, what about you? What would you do in this position?
I agree. I don't think we're going to be having a backup every single position on the pitch. If Chalobah's not going to be playing as much, or if he's going to be rotated with, there are going to be instances where we don't need to rotate both the right centre back and the centre back, and therefore Chalobah can fill in for whatever one. And to be honest, for him that works out better because chances are he gets more game time that way. So the rotation might actually fill in quite well if we do it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you're going with Silva and Trevor as well, and then I'm guessing on the right hand side, you guys are going Koundé and Trevor, something like that.
Correct.
Okay.
Koundé starts, Trevor as the backup, so that's perfect.
And how excited are you guys with Koundé signing, or is it at this point we've just been waiting? This guy's been standing, as I said, in priority checkout for quite some time.
London. Matisse, he's in London at the moment.
He's in London.
He's waiting for that.
I've never seen a player so desperate to join us. He's actually flown to London already, and he's now just hanging about in London until the ownership situation is done and it can get done. Like, I think he's actually genuinely in London because he just is waiting for everything to be ready.
Oh yeah,
I reckon he is.
100%.
Let's just visit in London for no reason.
I don't think he came to London just to go and check out Piccadilly Circus. I actually think he's come to London just to hang about and wait and see, because everything should be lifted soon. 31st of May was the deadline. So, a few days, hang about, go and check out the touristic places in London, have some nice meals, go to some nice places, link up with some other footballers and wait. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's going to be good for him, and I'm looking forward to it.
Do you know what, Younes? I was saying the same thing. Why is this guy? Someone commented in one of my videos saying that he was there for some sort of some show or whatnot, and I was just saying, who goes to, like, no disrespect, I've gone to London a couple of times, but not because of holiday purpose. It was purely to watch football. Like, I've got better places to go for holiday: sunshine, beach, blue water. Do you know what I mean? Why does Jules Koundé want to go to London for a holiday? Like, it's gloomy as hell. Like, it's great. So, this guy's just waiting for the Twitter page to just say the announcement, and then he's going to be knocking on the door of Chelsea.
He's going to be outside Stamford Bridge saying, "Guys, I'm here." Wow, man.
But yeah, this guy, boys, there's lots of talks that he plays like a midfielder. So he's got attributes of a midfielder that just knows how to play defense. I was utterly impressed by him against West Ham, if I'm being absolutely honest, but that's just one game that I've watched once again in the Europa League.
Yeah.
But we have to be patient. We just need to be patient. It's going to be a time of adaptation as well. It's not like Jules Koundé is going to come in and he's going to just light it all up.
Yeah.
I think long run, he's a player that's going to be perfect for us in that RCB role. I think that RCB role will probably evolve where you'll start seeing Jules Koundé entering into midfield areas and maybe even at times overlapping the right wing back. Do you know what I mean? Because he's got that pace. So it'll be perfect.
Yeah. And I think if we move to a back four, him or Ampadu, which is why I included him, could be sneaky right back options if Reece was injured as well. I just see us taking that type of route instead of getting a backup right back and a backup left back. Like you said, instead of buying every single individual position, I can see us almost, going with someone that is a half, like a John Stones kind of effect, or an Ake, where they can fill out in the fullback positions if need be. Now, if you're going to have, those fullbacks that are, more centre backs or can step into, the inverted positions and whatnot, and they're not going to fly forward, then obviously you need a lot of creativity in the attacking midfield and in the forward line to compensate for that. But yeah, I'm thinking down that route as well. I'm quite excited for Koundé. I'm more so really excited because he really wants to be here and he's talented. So when you've got a combination like that, it's brilliant. And like I said, he's been waiting for like a year. So Moving on into the midfield. This is where, well, actually, no, we didn't do the wing backs, did we? No, let's do the wing backs first. Let's not start the drama already. Reece James for me on the right, and I'm not gonna lie, that Perisic deal, when it flagged up, I know it really did. It hit me, and I was like, do you know what? That is really good business.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants, like, you know, we'd love to have Cucurella competing with Chilwell, and we'd love to have, you know, people are mentioning Kostic as well at Frankfurt, and that's the left-hand side. We'll get to that later. But when it comes down to Perisic, the fact that he can play both flanks and he's experienced and he's dependable and he's not injury prone and all of these things, I like the idea of Perisic. Again, it's all about balancing it. I want to have the Silvers, the Koulibalys, the Perisic. Like, I want that experience in the squad alongside the young players, because the young players will then develop even better. Do you know what I mean? So the Perisic one did excite me, even though this is a conversation where you can bring in whoever you want. If we're getting a wing back, I think he got Inter Milan Player of the Season, man, the match in the cup final.
He did, yeah, he did.
He was really good against Liverpool, the 2 ties.
Yes.
I swear.
He was
So good.
Yeah. Even on a 1-year deal, Miz. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, take it.
1-year deal, I think it would have to be 2 tops. He's 33.
Yeah.
As a wing back, like, that's taxing, especially in the Premier League. So, yeah, just as maybe a stopgap, but till maybe next summer, where whoever
try
is
to be
then
realistic
lingering.
as well with how much we spend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Perisic becomes my depth choice at right and left, I think.
That's the thing. He's going to be playing as depth. He won't play every week. Reece James will be playing every week.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't know how he'll take that. Yeah.
At 33, you'd think he'd be all right with that. But I think because he can fill in at both flanks, that's what makes me feel like as if it's actually not a problem. Because then if anybody needs resting, Chilwell or James, he could just fill in for either.
But also, there is a thing about Newcastle coming in for him. Just as
Tottenham as well. Tottenham.
So
Tottenham
Newcastle, he plays every week.
Yeah.
See, I'm thinking in a bit of a different way with this. I completely hear what Matisse is saying, that he's definitely able to play both flanks, which is absolutely right. I'm a bit concerned with Chilwell and Reece James's health, because these 2 players have not shown me that they can. Well, Chilwell last season, that's a separate matter. Dr. Mintz. Chilwell, we don't know. He's the unknown now, right? Like, how's he going to be next season? Is he going to come back to his normal way from the get-go? What happens, God forbid, if another heavy knock happens in that area? So there's always that unknown. Reece James, we can now honestly say 2 seasons, right? We've seen Reece James. Frank Lampard first season. No, 3 seasons we've now seen Reece James. And we've not really seen him this season. Fantastic goal contribution, same as Trent Alexander-Arnold, but he's played 1,000 minutes less than Trent. I think last season as well, there was a lot of injuries for Reece James. For me, right side, 100% Reece James is the number 1 selection. He's someone who scores goals, someone who assists. Defensively, a monster. The amount of raves that this player has got from top caliber players this season is unbelievable. Benzema swapped his shirt with Reece James. Vinicius Jr. tweeted out, big time player. Man City now getting linked with Reece James because they want a long-term successor for Kyle Walker. So this guy is the real deal.
That's not happening, by the way.
It's not happening. Man City, you can do one. Do you know what I mean? It's not happening. But Reece James, for me, I'm not really entirely sure how he can manage the entire season. So for me, I would like to have another backup there, considering Azpilicueta's leaving. Do you know what I mean? And my backup, since we're doing a lot of business with Barcelona, so you got your Alonso, you've got Christensen, you've got Azpilicueta, well, give us Serginho Dest. Give us Dest as a backup, a genuine backup. I think 21, 22-year-old, young American Taboli, your brother. Do you know what I mean? and someone that maybe Thomas Tuchel can coach. He's not entirely bad. At the same time, he's not electric either, but I don't need him to be electric at the moment because for me, the number one selection is Reece James. He's an understudy, but someone who has, I believe, a lot of potential. Can whip in a good cross. I've seen few Barcelona matches where he's done well, but there's been few Barcelona matches where he hasn't done well, which is fine. That's where the coaching comes in for a youngster. He's got pace. And he's got the know-how of how to play in a possession-based football. So for me, Serginho Dest and Ivan Perisic as a genuine rotational player for Chilwell, I think we need two players in this position because both those players that we talked about, Chilwell and Reece James, I'm just a bit concerned how healthy are they going to be.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Fair point because we don't know what they're going to be like. And it's a very taxing position athletically. Like it's so up and down. You have to cover the whole flank. Partly why I actually want to move to a 4 is to protect those two and put them in left and right back, and then they don't have to get so far forward, and that might stop some of their injuries. I don't know. It might, take a little bit off of them in terms of their just how much they have to exert themselves in every single game, because I feel like they have to do so much in those wing-back positions. And it does concern me. So that's a good point. We probably do need two players, so I'll probably have to think of another one. But Younes, what are you thinking for the wing-back positions?
It's good logic what Miz has used. Perisic would be good, as I've said, on a very, very short-term deal. But again, even so, will he play as much? I think if other clubs like Newcastle are going in for him, as I've said, he'll more than likely choose them because at Chelsea, he just knows he has to compete with Reece James, and no one's taking Reece James right now. So we need someone who's going to be, I think... I say satisfied enough to be backup, but with the potential to possibly try and take over at some point. Someone who has that growth. And Dest on a marketing level, on a footballing level, where we are is quality. With Reece James, it's different to Chilwell. With Chilwell, I'm happy for someone to come in and try and compete because we don't know what Chilwell's going to be like. As Miz has said, that injury has big question marks.
Yeah,
we saw what it was like for Callum. We saw what it was like for Ruben. We never know. And for someone in that position that has to run consistently, that is we just have to wait and see. So can we take that risk? With Reece James on the right-hand side, though, you just know that he is cemented. Yeah, he's cemented. So a Dest wouldn't be a bad shout. Although he's not the best. Dest has flaws, but... He's a good backup.
I prefer. See, this is where I've got a problem because there's a lot more left wing backs that I like than right wing backs.
100%.
So Cucurella at Brighton, love him. And if money was no object, and I wanted to be just completely stupid here, 50 million on Cucurella, get him in. Kostic at Frankfurt is another very good player, statistically doing incredibly well. I'd probably go for him. He's got a year left on his deal. That also fucks with Tottenham as well, because I think Tottenham won him as well for Conte. So that's another one. I'm fucking with. But Perisic...
Bro, this Conte brother is going to do a madness, isn't he? He's doing a madness.
We've got to stop him. We've got to stop him. Do you know what I mean? I was even close to going Bastoni at centre-back instead of Koulibaly because I know he wants him as well. But I thought, you know what? Let me not get obsessive.
He's going to take us back to court at this rate.
I know a lot of people like Bastoni as well. But I just feel like Inter Milan are going to ask for too much. We've already dealt with Inter Milan, so... Yeah, Koulibaly is just a cheaper, smarter option. But in terms of the left-hand side, I would like Kostic at Frankfurt. So I've been watching him more and more as the Europa League latter stages have gone on. He's been looking good. And then statistically, I've checked him out, and he's passing everything with flying colours. He looks brilliant. Where's the number 10? How much more better could you get? Do you know what I'm saying? Brother's obviously got something to him. But then on the right, Perisic has been playing mainly on the left for Inter Milan, hasn't he?
Yes.
So I don't know if Perisic is going to give us the same level at the right-hand side. I know he can play both flanks, but obviously he's been playing on the left, and he absolutely tore Trent a new one in the Champions League on the left. So
he did.
Ideally, in my head, I'd go Kostic back up Chilwell because obviously Chilwell's injury is more unknown quantity, so Kostic is ready to play maybe more games than Perisic, and I'll go Perisic to back up Reece on the right. And then I guess the way I'm giving myself a little bit of comfort is that if Reece is injured, we could just go to a 4. and Koundé could go right back, or Ampadu could fill in there as well. And that is just a short-term kind of, stabilizer. On the left-hand side, you've got more, Perisic. But I think Perisic could do a job at right wing back. I don't see why he couldn't. Do you know what I mean? But
this is the thing with Perisic. I do think if we get Perisic, if it were to happen, I don't think we get anyone else in a wing back role. Because then I think he would become the backup for both.
Yeah.
That's how I think it'd go down. Because, as I've said, just behind Reece James, waiting for Reece to not play, not happening. Chilwell, possible. But if one falls down, Perisic is there. So I think if we do get Perisic, that's all we get. And personally, I'd like more cover than that. So I don't know.
Potentially as well, Younes. Koundé could possibly play wing back as well, right? So I mean, it's more or less a fullback position, if need be. So what we need to think, boys, next season, injuries will happen. We cannot be in the same situation as we were this season. We simply cannot have any members injured next season and then wrap it up.
That's why I like the fact that you said 2 wing backs. Like, this is our team. We just gonna go full pelt. Do you know what I mean? And I think we've covered ourselves properly there with the 2 wing backs, because I think 1 wing back is a bit of a risk. I think it is.
I think so.
Okay, let's go into midfield. I like the teams that we've constructed because there's quite a bit of experience in there. It's easy to just go completely, star boy City, but I do think we need some experience in there. The midfield is interesting now. In that sixth position, Tchouaméni's not officially at Real Madrid, so I'm definitely saying Tchouaméni in the 6th. He's not officially.
Bro, you're clutching on straws, bro.
You're setting yourself
Listen, until it's done, it is not done. I will not give up this goose chase.
Brother thinks Tchouaméni is coming to us.
Bro, this is the dream team. Until it is done, it is not done, okay? And I will continue to keep pushing this one until I see him holding up the shirt. And because remember, we thought William to Tottenham was done, and then we take him. There's been many. Mikel,
he even had a medical.
Yeah, so, Pedro to Man United.
Madrid will be devastated. They are already filing a complaint for the Kylian Mbappe situation. Do you think? What do you think they're going to do to us if we still try?
Listen, they will not let. They won't. I don't think they'll go through a transfer window where they've missed out on Haaland, then they've missed out on Mbappe, and then they've missed out on Tchouaméni. They'd liquidate. No, they won't happen, bro. They are getting Tchouaméni. They are going to make sure they get Tchouaméni. They're going to give his agent a house or something. I don't know. But listen, I think it's done.
It's done. There's some big sources in French media saying that it's done. He's gone to Real Madrid.
Well, I'm still putting him in. He's like, he's
gonna hope. He's gonna hope Tchouaméni doesn't Mbappe, and literally goes, "Oh, but I want to join Chelsea. I cannot."
Yeah,
Madrid,
it's too soon to join Madrid. Too soon in my career. Too soon. I'm too young. So yeah, Tchouaméni as the 6, and
we have to think of someone else.
You know what, Matisse? Think of someone else, bro. It ain't happening, bro. Think of someone else. Yeah. It's not happening.
Unless we're changing to a Real Madrid channel.
I don't have anybody else.
Then, pick up Benzema all day long.
All right, cool. I have to pick someone else. All right,
I'm
gonna need some time to think. Younes, I'll let you go first.
But this is the thing. The problem is, I would have said Kamara.
He's gone, bro.
Aston Villa.
He's actually gone. He's actually gone. That's a done deal. Like the shirt.
Do you remember when we were talking about him a couple of weeks ago or something? You brought him up, Miz, and was like, Kamara, that would be a good option just in case if anything fell through. Aston Villa from nowhere. Literally, done. So now, I mean, Man United in the
Steven Gerrard Paul, bro. Steven Gerrard Paul.
Literally, apparently it was. Apparently, it actually was Stevie G. So, I mean, the only one I've seen linked and the only one that I know of is Sangare. That's all I know. I don't know if you guys have any other names in DM. So we get Makalele back.
Does he have a son or something? Does he have a 16, 17-year-old son?
I don't know. He works at Chelsea, so I don't know.
The thing is, I'm not anti Declan Rice. I'm anti Declan Rice's price. And I've also seen reports that he's not moving as well.
He's not moving, I don't think.
Yeah.
But West Ham's got all the power there. They're not letting him go.
They're not going to let him go for anything sensible. I'm not to be honest, when I start hearing 75 million upwards, I start honestly feeling sick in my mouth. Like, I just don't, it's just no. Honest to God, no.
I don't expect Todd Bowley to do that.
No. Data-driven, come on, data-driven.
Yeah, well, apparently we're going to be really strategic now, and we're not going to be splashing cash. Like, it's going to be
Well, to be fair, I think in this show we've been very strategic. Nobody that we've paid for has been above £55 million a person.
No, and I feel like we've strengthened.
Kostic has got a year left. Koulibaly, we've already explained his price. Perisic is on a free. We're actually being very sensible here. This is very realistic. We're going to maybe tally up how much we spent at the end. What's your guy called again, Younes?
Sangare.
Sangare, yeah, him. All right, fuck it. And my whole logic behind this is because I've seen him linked to Liverpool, guys, and Liverpool know what they're doing. I have no defensive midfielders left. I'm going to keep it completely a buck with you. When we had Julio Laurens on this channel, we spoke about Kamara, we spoke about Tchouameni, people spoke about Rice, people have spoken about even Bruno Ramirez. He's not really a DM, but he definitely would have been brilliant in a pivot for us, and he looks like he can defend as well. Unless you do, Basuma's not really a holding midfielder, to be honest. I see him as more that like Kante guy. You know what I mean? In his secondary.
He's more disciplined, I reckon, Matisse. He can be. I've seen matches where against Man City, deepest midfielder running the show, like against Man City. Do you know what I mean? So
Ruben Neves or Basuma?
Yeah, I like Neves as well, man.
Or Sangare.
But I don't know if we're gonna get anyone. Here is my twist. I think this is where we're gonna be.
Jorginho,
really? I think we will.
Younes, how many players are we expecting this summer, bro? Like, we've already talked about how many. Koulibaly. We've talked about Ivan Perisic. We've talked about Dest.
No, but listen. Apparently, the priorities are the centre backs because we have to get replacements in, and the midfielder.
Bro,
those are the priority.
If we don't get wing backs, rip up the three back. Like, I don't want to go next season with just Reece James and Ben Chilwell.
I agree.
I'll tell you right now. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, that will absolutely devastate me if we go next season and we get like someone like a Declan Rice and we get two defenders, and then who's our wing backs? Just Chilwell and Reece James for 60 plus games. We're going to be competing in every single competition. I'll tell you right now, those two brothers won't be playing every single game, and I don't want them to play every single game. I need them to be managed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'd be ecstatic if we get a midfielder. I would lose my mind if that midfielder is Declan Rice for 120 million, because for me, honestly, boys, check out some stats. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but I've got regularly people sending me on DMs, whether it's Twitter or Instagram. There are other midfielders that have genuinely greater stats than Declan Rice in that position.
I'm going to invite Alex Goldberg on this show next week for this argument.
Look, with Alex, I get it. Alex likes Declan Rice for many other things. No.
That would be brilliant.
I understand from Alex's point of view, right? Alex definitely understands that Declan Rice is a very good player, but he looks at all the other intangibles as well. Like, he's a leader, he's this, that. For me, it's not necessary that I need a leader to, like, we've got leaders developing. Do you know what I mean? We've got Reece James, we've got Mason Mount. Like, I don't necessarily need another guy. I need someone who's going to be able to sort of
do what you want on the ball.
Yeah, do what you want on the ball. The way I picture my football.
The way Billy Gilmore does it, but just a DM version.
Exactly, Matisse. Exactly. And there is no way I am paying 120 million, even if West Ham says 80 million. No. Like, seriously. For me, even someone like Julian Weigl, so nice in that deepest lying midfielder, more mobile, more physical than Jorginho, will do everything in terms of vertical passing. You cannot convince me, and Alex and I, we can talk all day long. You cannot convince me that Declan Rice yet has that verticality about his passing, and we need to be able to open teams up from deep. Do you know what I mean? It's not good enough to just do the simple passes, which is fine. We need that.
He can switch. He loves to switch play.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Like, I don't want to get into like switches of play. Look, it's long. It's all about perception now, how people perceive their football to be played. And I've got a different way of seeing how Chelsea needs to play football, right? So for me, we're in a bit of a situation. We may need to give Kante a contract extension. Unfortunately, Matisse, I know you're going to hate this, but we may need to give this guy a contract extension because...
Why? Where are you going to play him?
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
He's going to have to be a pivot backup. Like, he's going to have to be someone in midfield that's going to be a backup. So for me... Okay, so let's get down to this.
Let's get down to your sixes first, yeah. Because I want to know, who are your DMs?
Two players in the middle. Kovacic is the starter. And the other guy is... Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, I would have liked to evolve, but it may have to be Jorginho again. It may have to be Jorginho again.
So Kovacic who are your two like Jorginhos? Who are your two sixes in this?
Okay,
team? So regardless, because obviously in formation wise, if you move to a 3-man midfield, you're still going to need two sixes. Pivot, you're still going to need two sixes. Whatever. So who is your two like holders?
Okay, so Jorginho and Ampadu.
Jorginho and Ampadu.
Yeah, because Ampadu has done that in preseason last season, playing in that Jorginho's role, and there was a lot of clips in the preseason last season where both of them were rotating in the training sessions, playing as the deepest midfielder. You know, spraying the passes, the build-ups, and whatnot. I don't know why Ampadu was then let go to Venezia, but it's done a whole heap of good for him as well. I think now he's ready to play as the deepest midfielder and deputise with Jorginho. Mobile, far more physical, robust, has the ball-playing ability, will definitely understand how to build up from the back the way Thomas Tuchel wants to build up, and then progress the play to offensive side as well, because there will be times where we're going to camp in the opposition half, and I think he'll be very, very solid as the deepest player, whether there's a transition, or even to dictate play from the back over there. So for me, it will be Jorginho, Ampadu, and then you've got Kovacic and Kante. Not the greatest, not what we want. I know, I get it, because Jorginho
really
and Kante
like
there.
that. Fuck.
I don't know what else we do.
I don't think. I mean, I'll be surprised that Chelsea will go through this summer without letting go either Jorginho or Kante, and I don't think it's going to be Kante, because they're both coming to the end of their contracts next season. Mm-hmm. And I agree. I think Kante will renew. I just don't think I don't even think Thomas Tuchel. I don't think we'll let go of Kante. Just
that means we need. If you get, I hear you and I completely agree. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. But our build-up play then will be absolutely horrendous if we don't keep Billy Gilmour. I think Jorginho is more important to keep, if I'm being completely honest. I've said it before, people don't like it, but he's already one of the sixes. So if you get rid of Jorginho, you have to get two sixes. That means it would be Ampadu and somebody else. Basuma is a great player.
This is why I think a DM will come in.
Yeah, a DM absolutely has to come in. I'm not trusting Ampadu and Jorginho with that role and that responsibility. Personally, I need somebody new in that position.
There's also, and I don't know how we're going to fit this, but there's Gallagher.
We'll get into that, because I think
it gets messy.
It's gonna get messy otherwise. We'll start with the sixes. We'll start with the sixes, and then we'll get to the eights. Let's just call Kova an 8. Let's just call Kante an 8. Let's call all of those guys 8s, right? Because they're not sitters. Whether you're an 8 in a pivot or you're an 8 in a 3, let's stick to the 6s, because otherwise it's going to get messy.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I get what you mean. I thought you was on about just the 2 in the pivot. Okay,
no, because the pivot is too messy, because we played Kova and Kante as a pivot. They're not even, none of them are sitters. So let's just go with the fact that next season we want to have 2 sitters in the squad, regardless of the formation. Who are your sitters, Younes? Your sitters, yeah, your ones. Not what you think will happen.
In terms of 6s. Again, I think even from a financial perspective, you sell Jorginho. He's going anyway. At some point, he's going anyway. I think if we go to the end of his contract, he's leaving. He's going back to Italy. That's going to happen. That's inevitable. So we might as well, I guess, try and make something now whilst we have the chance if we're getting a DM in. So I'd have a DM who can play there, whether that's Sangare or whoever. And then as a backup to that, it'll probably have to be Ampadu. Or Billy Gilmore, if he stays. So I'd say that's I think that's pretty much nailed on what will happen.
I haven't watched enough of Sungari to comment. I've always liked Basuma, but do you think he's disciplined, Miz, to stay in that 6 if I need him?
I think so. Not off the field, disciplinary action.
Yeah, I mean,
on field discipline.
I think that case has been dropped. Otherwise, I wouldn't be bringing him up.
Liverpool is apparently interested in Basuma as well. So there's your logic.
What is wrong with this team? Just piss off, man. Fucking hell.
Like a rash that won't go away.
Basuma can definitely. He's not like a Kante where. See, the issue with Kante is you tell the brother, "Can you be the deepest midfielder?" Yeah, and then he'll just start running. You know what I mean? As Rudiger said, the way he laughs, do you know what I mean? The way Kante laughs. Basuma, like you can tell him, be the deepest midfielder. All I need you to do is look for, simple passes, but at the same time, vertical, long, whatever. Like he's got that whole range. And then whenever you sense an opportunity to maybe drive from that position to add another extra man in attack, he can do that. He's got a shot in himself as well. I'd love a Basuma. The reason, boys, you know what I didn't say buy another midfielder? I'm just worried that Thomas Tuchel has said we will need multiple windows to get better. I just don't think we're going to be getting so many players in because we've not even gone to the forwards yet, where I think there will be a lot of changes there. So
I've got two changes in my forward line.
100% has to be 2. I've got 2 as well in the forward line. So
how do you spell your guy's name? I'm literally researching right now to make my decision.
Who, Sangare?
Yeah, how do you spell that brother's name?
Sangare.
Younes, did he play in the Conference League final yesterday?
That's Feyenoord. He plays at PSV.
Oh, he's played.
Yeah,
Eindhoven. Yeah, but the thing is, when you look at it on just the signs, right? Liverpool interested, good sign.
He's more of your like physical DM presence, isn't he?
DM, someone that can shut shop, someone that can protect the back line, and hopefully at least on the ball can also do the same going forward. But Ivorian got a good history with those. Young seems like there's a good prospect and would be a good price. Yeah.
And thing is, Younes, Dutch football, it's not like they play rubbish football. They know how to play ball playing style over there.
On a development level, they're one of the best. I mean, look at Ajax. It's cool. It's fantastic.
How old
PSV is a decent team as well.
Yeah.
He's 24 years old. So he's at a good age
as
well.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
And he's an Ivorian international. He does play for the Ivory Coast. So
yeah, it's tough. I haven't watched enough of him, but I'll take the Younes cosign. I think. Have you watched enough of him, Younes, for me to let you cosign?
Not in Holland. Not in terms of PSV. I've seen bits. I've seen him for Ivory Coast, and I saw him at the last AFCON. Yeah. I don't have good memories of that because we played against him, so I'm not going to comment.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, overall, it seems like it's decent. And again, if Liverpool are interested, then he must have something. So,
I would,
I
would love to rip up the structure. I'm just thinking if a new DM comes in and they have to start immediately, how does that impact their development at the club going forward? Is it going to be too much too soon? Is it better to ease them in? Ideally, it's probably better to ease them in, but
again, it's better than what we have now in terms of actually moving forward to the way we want to play. Because we need a DM. Oh my god, we're screaming for one, man. It's outrageous. Like with that protection, it allows everyone else forward to even let themselves go a little bit further.
True.
So yeah,
I'm looking to change my mind as well after what Younes is saying because I don't know if I want to go into next season having issues.
I couldn't go into the same. I couldn't go into next season with the
same.
No way. No fucking way.
Yeah. Same transitional issue. We camp in the opposition half. They get one break and we're opened up. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Can't have that. Can't have that.
So
I'm just thinking, if we make this Sangare move, which is fine, I'm okay with that. There's repercussions. And
what are
by
the
that, what I
repercussions?
mean is Billy Gilmore, Conor Gallagher,
So I'll tell
Ruben
you.
Loftus-Cheek.
I'll tell you. My COVID deputy is Billy Gilmore.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
Because
Okay.
Billy Gilmore is the only midfielder that we have that can do Jorginho's build up. So if Jorginho was to
Yeah.
leave, I could trust Billy Gilmore to drop in between the midfield line and defense line into those deeper areas, pick up the ball and put those triangles together and take that ball in tight spaces and start the build up. And then I know in the second phase where Kova is, he can also play that progressive pass as well.
And
His
drive,
progressive passing is better than Gallagher's, obviously, this season, even though he's been at Norwich and Gallagher's been at Palace. He's actually out. He's outshining Gallagher in a few of those key areas that no one really looks at outside of GA, and obviously counter pressing and pressures. Gallagher's 10 times better. But in terms of progressive carries, in terms of progressive passing, in terms of, you know, all of the build-up play, obviously Gilmore's playing deeper, so you'd expect all this. But in terms of what we actually will need if Jorginho does go, for me, if Jorginho goes, Gilmore has to be in the team next season. And I still, even with Jorginho there, would still probably want Billy Gilmore in the squad anyway. Because I just feel like he's running out of contract and he's not going out on loan again. So it's either we keep him or we sell him. Apparently, a source close to the family says he doesn't want to go back out on loan, which is understandable. They chose to send him to Norwich. It didn't work. I'm not going to keep going out on loan, taking these dead deals and hoping it's the right one. I'm just going to go and find somewhere else permanently. He's the type of player that will play for a top team because the way that he plays football, it only suits top teams. So I'm keeping Billy Gilmore.
I don't know how Thomas Tuchel feels about Billy Gilmore.
He's probably not going to. He's probably not going to. But that's where I'll disagree. I think if we're playing this formation in a pivot, Billy Gilmore's he's been playing the pivot all season. He's the type of
I'll be back, guys.
Yeah,
1 sec.
All good. He's the type of midfielder that will do well in a pivot. Like we're playing in a pivot and we're got three at the back. And Ampadu, Gilmore are the type of players that will work in a pivot. Gallagher doesn't play in a pivot. Gallagher plays in a 3-man midfield and he plays the number 10 sometimes for Palace.
See, this is the thing, Matisse. This is why I want Thomas Tuchel. You manage the team. You coach and you manage. And this is where I want director of football to come in and veto him at times and say, hey, TT, I think Billy is going to be a better player for you as the deepest midfielder and also a backup for Kovacic. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's, one, we save money from going into the market, and two, he's genuinely good. I personally think Thomas Tuchel doesn't really fancy this guy so much. He believes that he's got the talent, but this brother let him go on a loan and brought in Saul. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you saw what happened to that. He's even played Ruben Loftus-Cheek in a pivot. Like, surely somewhere along the way, you would have thought Thomas Tuchel would have realized pre-season that, do you know what, maybe Billy Gilmore could be handy as the deepest midfielder, and maybe let someone like Ruben Loftus-Cheek go on a loan, or don't even worry about Saul. Like, this is where I don't necessarily think Thomas Tuchel completely believes Billy Gilmore's ready. And this is why you've got the ultimatum from Billy Gilmore recently, not necessarily directly from him, but sources close to him saying that if he doesn't get game time, he wants to leave. I wouldn't mind seeing Billy Gilmore, but I'm worried that he may not stick around.
It would be that's who would be in my midfield anyway. I'd have Kova and Billy. And the DM situation is tough, man, because like I said, everybody knows my eggs are in the Tchouameni basket. I do worry about bringing in a new DM and not having somebody that's already there being there so they can be eased in. But yeah, if it's a new player at Ampadu, then we roll the dice. If it's Jorginho and a new player, but there has to be a new DM. There has to be a new player.
Lock in your 2 DMs and your 2 8s.
I'm gonna lock in with Younes's brother, Ibrahim, because I do want that physical presence in midfield and that person that is just a DM. Whereas I feel like Basuma is still, he probably can do the job if asked, but I still see him as somebody that is an all-action kind of midfielder as well, and will want to, or can at least play in a different position as well. I want a little bit more of a specialist. So I'm going with Signore, and I'm going with Jorginho, because I can't advocate for what I'm going to do next otherwise, which is probably Kova or Billy. So I need experience with Jorginho. Can't go Ampadu and a new DM.
Selling Kante.
Yeah, I'm cashing in. I think.
Oh, the heat is gonna come Mateus's way at the end of this show.
Listen, I see. If PSG come in with a big enough offer, and if they come in with big bucks, I would cash in, because I remember when we cashed in on Matic, and I'm not saying that he's going to drop off like Matic did, but I feel like we did cash in on Matic at the right time. We have ended up cashing in on Eden Hazard at the right time. And I feel like you have to kind of foresee these things sometimes and take your emotions out of it. And
Thomas Tuchel said, Matisse, 40%. He's only played 40% of the matches. Like, just not good enough, man.
You know, if you're only playing 40% of the matches, that means we have to replace you. I think everybody that will be watching this will agree with me. We have to replace him. So I'm only doing this mainly because, again, I don't see us winning the league next season, and I don't think he's the difference between us making top four and not making top four. I think we can make top four without him, as long as we replace him properly. If we was going for the league and we were trying to build a team to win the league next year, then I would say, cool, you have to keep Kante, because he's a brilliant person to bring off the bench, and he's on his day, he's top notch. But because we're not going for the league, in my opinion, I'm just going to keep it that cut and dry. I don't feel like we need to prepare and keep a player that is about to drop off, if he hasn't already in some people's eyes. And this is the last opportunity to cash in. Now, either you're cashing in now or he's retiring here. Do you know what I mean? Or you're letting him fizzle out and giving him a new contract, and then he's proper fizzling out on 270k or whatever he's on, and he's fizzling out. I just don't. I'm one of the few that just don't see him as indispensable, and I don't see his role in the team as irreplaceable. I think what he does now at the level he does it at can be replaced. I don't think he's been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League for a few years now, consistently. I don't think he's been our player of the year consistently for a few years now. I think if we get a proper player in his position, I'm not saying people will forget about Kante, but people will quickly realize that there is life after Kante. If you brought in a Tchouaméni who could play his role, and Tchouaméni was excelling week in, week out and doing the business, then people would be easily able to part with Kante, because nobody's going to see Kante in a depth position with people ahead of him performing and be like, oh my God, we can't afford to lose this depth player. No one ever says that. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So
100%, man.
I'm going to take the hit with that, cash in, and that opens up avenues for others, because of people, obviously Mason Mount is one of the other midfielders. So if we're going with 6 options, Mason Mount has to get in there. See, if I don't cash in on Kante and I want to keep Gilmour, which I do, who are people choosing between Gallagher and Loftus-Cheek? And people want everything, right? They want to keep Gilmour. Some people want to keep Gilmour. They want to keep Gallagher. They want to keep Ruben. They want to keep... You can't keep them all. So I'm making room. I would personally go into next season then with Mason Mount and Gallagher as the other option. I'd get rid of Loftus-Cheek and I'd get rid of and I'd cash in on Kante. And I've got my experience with Kova and Jorginho. I've got Younes's new DM. I've got Billy Gilmour, and I've got Gallagher and Mason Mount, who are like the furthest forward out of the 8s.
Yeah,
who can get goals.
That's a well-rounded sort of balanced view as well.
You've replaced Kante's energy with Gilmour. Not with Gilmour, with Gallagher. Tackles and interceptions wise, you've got the new DM. So the whole need for Kante to get back and cover the DM is not so. It's such a pressing need, because you've actually got a real DM there now. I've got Gilmour, Kova, and Jorginho for the build-up play. I've got goals for Gallagher and Mason, and I've got plenty of energy in there, plenty of progressive passing in there with Billy and Kova. I think it's. And the age range is much more ready for the future as well.
Do you know what? You've sold it to me as well. And I was sort of thinking there is still value of keeping Kante, but we do need to define what that value is, because I don't want to see Kante in the KDB role. Like, I don't want to see him playing against low blocks where he's in areas where you'd expect Kevin De Bruyne to be in, and spraying key passes from there. I don't want to see him sometimes in the box receiving crosses. Do you know what I mean? So we do need to define, if we do keep Kante, how do we play him? Because I don't necessarily think we play him the right way. Because for me, the way... Yeah, go on, Matisse.
If we was playing a pivot and a 10, I think then Kante stays and Gallagher goes. Because then all Gallagher goes to the 10, Mason goes to the 10. Don't particularly like both of them as being options in the 10. I don't think they're creative enough with their passing.
Yeah.
So you can make a case for Kante to be in a pivot next to a DM, you know, because that's his real position. But if I'm opening this up to more of a 3 on the right side 8, I don't particularly want to see Kante as a right side at 8 too much.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'll go with you then. So that Younes's brother, Sangare, I've got no idea about this guy, but he's in. I did expect Jorginho might be leaving because it's probably in terms of the contract situation. But now having this conversation with you guys kind of makes me think like, no, we probably still need to keep him around. Do we risk him going out on a free?
I don't mind.
Know. We'll see.
I don't mind. If he goes on a free, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and you know we've got the most out of him, I suppose. And then we've got Kovacic and Billy Gilmour as cover. Billy Gilmour is someone. Yeah, you're right, Matisse. Maybe we shouldn't think about letting him go. I think there is a top player out there, a very, very top player out there, and he could be something really, really fantastic for us down the track. So. Yeah, I'll go with you, Matisse, bro. I'll lock that in.
Younes, what's your midfield 8s? I've just spoken about.
Okay.
Gilmour, Kovacic, Gallagher, and Mason as my 4 8s.
In the long run, absolutely. For next season, again, it depends because we technically have the double pivot where one of them will be as player going forward, and then we might have even a midfielder in front of them who is maybe sitting in behind the striker or is part of the front 3. I don't know.
My pivot would be Kova, Gilmour, your new DM, and Jorginho. Those 4 players are like your deepest midfielders. Gallagher's played the 10 at Palace, pressing, counter pressing. We're still, for me, going to be a Gengham press team. I would love a bit of creativity in the 8, but just too many players to bring in. Mason would press from the 10 as well. They're not great with their passing in terms of their creativity, their final ball, but they will drift into the box. They'll get goals and they'll press from that position. It's not ideal, but I do think there's a lot of progressive passing in Gilmour, Kova, Jorginho, and your guy as well, where they'll find them in dangerous positions in the half spaces, then they can turn and hopefully do something quickly. And hopefully maybe we'll add some creativity on the wings.
I think personally, if we're counting, are we counting Mason Mount?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
As an 8. Yeah.
Mount and Gallagher, who I think will, at first, if we're playing in a double pivot, I think they're going to be competing against each other. And then later on, if we do shift to a back 4 with one DM sitting, then we have 2 8s and they can possibly play together. But Gallagher, Mount, Kovacic, Kante, Gilmour.
5.
I think there's 5. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of names.
Gilmour might get. Gilmour's a tough one because, again, I think Kante stays at least one more season.
I think he does. I think he does.
And that's why I'm including him because hopefully with Kante, because I know he's been on and off and injuries have been crazy. I'm hoping this summer is a chance for him to just get his body back to a certain level and fully recover. You know, there's no football, like fully recover, get rid of all your issues, fingers crossed. And there's the World Cup to think about. So there's that. Kovacic stays without question. Gallagher, Mount without question. And then Gilmour I'd like to see Gilmour. I'd love to see Gilmour because he's a talent. And I do honestly think with time he's going to become a top midfielder. It just depends whether he does that here for next season or he goes elsewhere for one more season. I don't know, but I don't know. The loan to Norwich wasn't exactly fantastic.
I don't think he wants to go out on loan. I don't think he wants to go out on loan
Then
again.
fair play.
So
Then he sticks around.
And either he sticks around or he leaves.
I'd be happy if he sticks around.
Do you know what? Just on this, boys, because this is a very interesting topic, which I brought up a couple of videos ago as well. If you think about it from a Billy Gilmore's point of view, if you want to leave Chelsea just for the sake of playing first-team football, you're not going to go to Man City. You're not going Liverpool. You're not going Real Madrid. You're not going Bayern Munich. You're not going PSG. You're definitely going somewhere that is below Chelsea level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that your ambition, to go somewhere below just to get first-team football, or you stick around at Chelsea, high-caliber profile players? If Thomas Tuchel wants you to go on another loan, what is the bad deal about it? Conor Gallagher has done it. West Brom, he's done it at.
I don't think it necessarily works for Gilmore. It depends on where we send him. I think Gallagher, because he's so industrious and because he's so based on like his energy levels, I think he does pretty well in most teams, because most teams in modern day could do with someone who's going to counter press, someone who's going to have a lot of pressure, someone who's going to be high octane, who's going to cover the ground. It's very hard
as well.
Yeah, he's very versatile. It's very hard for him to flop. Whereas Billy Gilmore plays a certain brand of football that a lot of teams will not play, i.e. Norwich. And I think for him, there's definitely plus points to leaving, because you only have to look at Tammy, Tomori. They've gone out, they've said, you know what, we're going to drop a level and we're going to go and have success. And look at them, they've both picked up trophies. And now, if you
didn't think about Serie A. Serie A would suit him, actually. Yeah, he would be perfect in Serie A.
If you leave Chelsea for a couple of years and build yourself up with regular game time, you're playing for Scotland, you show everybody what you can do, then you can step back up to that top tier level of football again. If you stay at Chelsea, keep going out on these loans and they don't work, your stock in football is going to fall. And he's at an age at 20 where he's still considered young and promising. If he keeps doing that a couple more years and he gets to 22, he's not going to be considered young and promising anymore. And then it's going to be a situation where Billy Gilmore potentially becomes the next Josh McEachran or something. We're not playing those games. So I think he's well within his right, because every time he's played for Chelsea, he's performed most times. I think the only bad game I can remember was away to Leicester in the FA Cup. He performed against Liverpool. He performed against Everton. He's performed against City last year. He's performed against some proper teams. So
in Europe as well. He did well against England, I still remember.
Yeah, for Scotland, man the match at Wembley. Regardless of what he's doing out of Chelsea, what he's doing when he's in Chelsea is good enough. So to be at least to be a squad player. So for me, I think
imagine Matisse. He goes to like a Sarri's Lazio. Like, I think Sarri would like a player like that as well.
He would do so well for if Billy Gilmore wasn't at Chelsea and he was playing at Barcelona and he was playing as a Gavi rotational option, Chelsea fans would be all over him. Chelsea fans would be all over him.
Yeah.
We want Billy Gilmore. You know, he's played in Britain before. He's Scottish, so he knows a bit of the English game. He plays this tiki-taka football.
True.
They'd be all over him. We don't know what we've got until we give it away, and that's been the case for a lot of our players.
Very true.
I'm 100% keeping him. If we're going with the pivot situation and we're not coming out of this 3-4-3, which is what we've spoken about, then I would probably keep Kante for that pivot, and it would be Gallagher that would probably not make it, because I don't know where Gallagher fits in a 3-4-3. If I'm being honest, the only place I could see him fitting is in the front three. But he's not playing the pivot for me at all. No way.
It would be the front three behind two strikers. That'd be the only way.
Yeah, because even in the front three to the right, it's like you're not really a winger. You can't really go out wide. And, you know what I mean? So Gallagher would have to play in a 3-4-1-2 in that Mason Mount number 10 position.
Which is why they would be competing.
Yeah, which is why they'd be competing. That would work. But then in a pivot, you could definitely still see use for Kante next to a DM. Kovac. So this is where you said, Younes, it gets difficult. Do you keep 3 people on for that? For, I don't know, 5 people on for 2 positions? It's a lot of people, but we play a lot of games. For me, I'm not letting go of Billy Gilmore. So if Kante stays, I'd roll it out with the 5-year probably, but it's probably too many people. But I'd roll out with it because you just have to have you have to have. For me, I have to keep that. I have to keep Gilmore.
I'd rather more than less at this stage. At least for next season, I'd rather more than less. We've had less. It's not nice.
So now, okay. So if we keep Kante, that's going up to like a 23-man squad. Okay, so we're okay. We're okay. Can't go any higher than that though. 23-man squad is like the so-called like that is the you don't go above that zone. So we had 22 of 11 and then backups for everybody. So let's go to 23. Let's just push ourselves with that extra man. If you keep Kante with those other midfielders, and then so we've already discussed Gallagher and Mount. So now we're talking about the front 2/3. If it's 4-2-3, if it's 3-4-1-2, then it's 4 attackers. And if it's 3-4-3, then it's 3 attackers. But for the purpose of what we've just discussed, let's go with the 4 attackers for 2 positions, because we've just said that we're going to go down with 5 midfielders. So we're hitting 23-man squad already. And that is really the only way to get all those midfielders in. Gallagher and Mount actually get more goals than some of the other attackers that we've got anyway. So it's not like as if we're sacrificing goals in the team by going that way. And to be fair, a lot of our forwards that we currently have probably suit a 2-striker system as well. But who we keeping is what are we doing here? Because this is dangerous.
This is where there's going to be a lot of drama. There's going to be a lot of drama this transfer window. You guys are going to hate this. I think our man Lukaku is probably going to stick around. And the reason being, I'll tell you why.
I think so, yeah.
I've just done this literally about 4 or 5 hours ago, where I talked about Lukaku. There's no suitors out there for him. There's no suitors. Literally no suitors. Kylian Mbappe staying at PSG. Real Madrid will probably not go for a player like Lukaku. And Lukaku's probably going to be a bencher over there because Benzema's still got a couple of good, solid seasons left. Bayern Munich, maybe. But I see more Timo Werner linked with Nagelsmann, with Lewandowski probably moving away, as opposed to Lukaku. I don't know how Lukaku fits that Bayern. It just doesn't. It doesn't work for him. And he's definitely not
German
going
football, though. I reckon he'd fit German football, but anyway.
He could. He could, but the wages and everything, I just don't know. So for me, I think Lukaku, from what I've been reading as well, wants to stick around and do well at Chelsea, wants to have showdown conversations with Thomas Tuchel and Todd Bowley. So I think
he wants to make it at Chelsea, apparently. Yeah,
wants to make it at Chelsea, which is great. Look, this is what I said. I still think there is a good footballer in there, but it's he. Can you actually commit to Chelsea Football Club? Because if you can and really play from the heart and stay away from all the dramas that you did this season, maybe. Because if I look at our team, boys, who is the one player that you would bank on to get 20+ goals?
That would be him.
It'll probably be Lukaku. Like, there's no other players that I can actually sit down and go, oh, they're definitely going to get 20+ goals. So Lukaku stays. The other 3. So Matisse 4, right? 4 forwards.
Yeah, 4 forwards.
So
four or 5. No more than 5.
No more than 5. Okay, I'll go with the 4 first. Lukaku stays. I have to bring in a marquee, man. I do. I need to be shown from the new owners that you are serious. Yeah. Defense, yes, you got to do it because a lot of our players are leaving. So you got to bring new players in. But marquee signing up front, Ousmane Dembele, man. I need Chelsea to go out there and get this big-time player. For me, he's been ripping it apart in Barcelona since Xavi's taken over. He's only played half the season, and I think he's got about 13, 14 assists. Do you know what I mean? Something ridiculous. Left foot, right foot, 1v1, proper 1v1 demon, unlike the Matisse 1v1 demon that he talked about. Do you know what I mean? Proper 1v1. None of these Fugazi style of 1v1 demons. He'll cross from the right, cross from the left. He'll shoot with his right, shoot with his left. He is the creative winger that I am desperately asking for. Final third decision-making, on point, chaos written all over when he plays.
Is this like your first 100% nailed down attacker?
I need him, bro. I need him, bro. He's nailed down for me.
you know what?
So
he's a player that obviously there's risk and he does worry me, but I do think
I hear.
I do think he's worth the risk. However, that means for me, you've got to get rid of injury-prone midfielders just to like, so we know availability-wise, we will have players with us that will not be in the medical room.
Christian Pulisic
is
like
gone for
he doesn't
you.
want to stick around.
See, because in my head, Pulisic and Ziyech, I was willing to give another year, and it would have been Werner and Lukaku that go. But the way Pulisic is talking, or not him specifically, but the way that what is coming out of his camp, it seems like he's unsettled and would like to go. But it's the same applies for all of them. Werner, Ziyech, it seems like everybody's a little bit unsettled. Would you keep Ziyech? Especially in this formation.
You guys gotta laugh.
In this formation, because
Ziyech bias.
No.
Ziyech should become the captain. Do
you know why I asked you? Because we can't get rid of everyone. So in my head, there was a point in the season where Ziyech showed enough form where I was like, right, you're into the next round of X Factor. Sing your heart out in the next round. Like, you're good. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you know, I'm not the biggest Ziyech fan, but he had a period in the season where he was playing so well. I was like, do you know what? It's the best of a bad bunch. Out you go. Next round. Yeah. But in this formation, it really doesn't seem to suit him. And if we're going to stick with this 3-4-3, thing is, if we're going to stick with this 3-4-3 or this 3-4-1-2, which we've played actually quite a lot as well, so it's kind of fair, I think, to go with either or. Either or, there's no wingers, out-and-out wingers in this team. That doesn't suit Hudson-Odoi, who for me needs to go out on loan, so I'm fine with that one. Because even if people would say that he's better to keep than Pulisic, I would just say I want to see Hudson-Odoi go out on loan and get game time at this point. I'm sick and tired of this because he's not going to play consistently next year. We already know that, so there's no point. Let him go and play consistently somewhere else. Ziyech wants to hug the touchline on the right. In this formation, he's not doing that. So there's a question mark over whether Ziyech works as well. What do we do?
This is the thing. Personally, I feel Ziyech has that X factor in him. Every time he's... And I've said this to you guys several times. I think, Mason Mount obviously leads, most chances created, this, that, and the other, everything first. Everyone tweets that out on a regular basis. But one of the key things about Mason Mount's chances created, and I always talk about chances created per 90 minutes and how many minutes have you played as well over the season. So he obviously leads that race. But Ziyech played so much less than Mason Mount. Is only a handful of chances created less than Mount. And this is what I'm saying. When Ziyech plays, there's multitude of chances being created. It's just our brothers can't put it away. When Mason Mount plays, sure, there is chances created, but I don't think it comes as frequently enough, right? So I see the benefit from that perspective that Ziyech brings that quality. But I understand what you're saying, Matisse. In this formation, I don't know if Ziyech... he won't start. Like we've seen Thomas Tuchel, he won't start him unless he absolutely hugs the right side. So getting back to my point, Lukaku, Ousmane Dembele, Kai Havertz. See, I didn't mind Pulisic to stick around, but it looks like he's fed up. 3 seasons. He wants to leave. Theoretically, he's probably going to move on. So probably be Hakim Ziyech. So Lukaku, Ousmane Dembele, Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech. That's my 4 attackers.
So hold on, Dembele, Ziyech, and let me type this out. Who else have you got? You've got Hakim Ziyech.
Hakim Ziyech, Dembele, Lukaku, Havertz.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I have a 5th, then Pulisic.
No Broja.
Bro, see, this is the thing, bro. I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to be a manager. No, that's for a different.
Do you know what worries me about this? Do you know what? Okay, so Kostic can play out wide. I've got his name down. Perisic can play out wide. So those are like your backup wingers and wing backs for not only Reece James and Chilwell, but also potentially if you used to switch formation for Dembele and Ziyech. My biggest issue with this is Dembele and Ziyech are very injury prone. And if they pick up injuries, we have no wide players. Like we have no creativity. We have no wide players. We have no nothing. This is my biggest issue.
I'm gonna let us add
we need to add a fifth. We can't go into the season with these four. So I'm gonna let you add a fifth. So right now you said Pulisic.
Yet another injury.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Bring me an ambulance, please.
This is my massive reservation on Dembele is the fact that we're bringing in another injury-prone, high-wage player that, yes, he's brilliant on his day, and he's been brilliant for the second half of the season. But if he comes to the Premier League, a more physical league, and gets injured, he's of no use to anybody.
Yeah.
This is why I have reservations over him, because he's going to earn a lot of money, and his professionalism, we have to hope that it stays to the top tier level, which I hope under Tuchel it does. But even fitness-wise, he's unreliable.
There's a point where you're gonna have to take a risk on this. He's a marquee player. He's the one who's gonna. For me, Dembele is the one that transcends our attack. I personally think it will transcend our attack.
I agree with you because he can play. He's both footed as well, and I do like that about him. But
connection with Thomas Tuchel as well, if we consider that. Do you know what I mean? And injury prone, yes, I hear. Since Xavi has come on, which has been now more than 7 months, 8 months, he hasn't been injury prone.
He's not been injured. Yeah,
I'm not keeping Lukaku. I would swap Lukaku if possible, and this is obviously the dream. It's not realistic.
I was gonna say
João Felix.
Oh, I thought he was gonna say Lewandowski.
It ain't happening, Bummer.
Oh, Lewandowski, I'd happily take in for Pulisic.
Lewandowski is a possibility. Although apparently Barcelona's already printed 10 shirts with Lewandowski's name on the back and given it to his agent.
So, I'm not surprised.
Let me tell you my ideal situation. Yeah, this is it here. Owen at West Ham.
João Felix would be a dream, but I don't know.
Bowen adds goals into the team. He's available. He's physically fit. He's consistent. He's not going to get injured. I know he's going to cost a lot from West Ham, but he's the West Ham player I would end up taking because then you've got Dembele's creativity, Felix's creativity, and Felix. I feel like Felix and Havertz. I just feel like I don't want Lukaku for the sheer fact that he ruins our. He ruins our fluidity, and also he doesn't press from the front. And I know you're saying that he guarantees goals, but he doesn't guarantee goals at the moment with us. So I'm not sure if he's 100% going to put the ball in.
So you're playing false nine. You're playing false nine next season.
I was going to ask, what do you? I don't think we've spoken about this guy on this channel. I'm not sure. What do you guys think of Darwin Núñez?
No.
Hype.
All hype.
Massive hype.
No,
but not all hype. Younes.
I don't even think there's enough goals in my forward line, man.
Younes, I had Adrian from Rabona TV, right? He's a massive Benfica fan. Huge Benfica fan. Huge. Yep. I had him on my channel maybe about 6 months ago when we first got linked with Darwin Núñez and Julian Weigl. Yep. And I asked him about Darwin Núñez at that time, and it was still early stages of Champions League. And he said, Darwin Núñez is a very good player, but there's a lot of development that needs to happen. There are times where he coasts as well. He's a little bit lazy. However, having said all of that, recently I've gone back to him and he said the last 3 months, though, in the Champions League, he's absolutely lit it up.
Yeah.
Now, what Darwin Núñez are we going to, have we seen enough of him to say, yep, that's our guy? Or have we seen a purple patch, a dream that we think that's the player that he can be? But is that him in a longer span of the whole situation? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't like talking about players where I've spoken to one person literally 6 months ago saying, I'm kumsa about this guy. And
for
then
me, absolutely not.
Do you know what I mean?
No way. Not for the price they're looking for as well. It's just I could just see bust. I could just see pure bust from him. Especially now, if we're talking about again, our forward line is quite narrow because we're sticking with wing backs. This is why I said Felix, is I feel like Felix is better in that inverted 10 role.
Spaces.
Yeah. He's not an out-and-out winger, but he's someone that can play in that left central area, whatever you want to call it. I would prefer to go with him. I know people have talked about Nkunku, but we are scared of the Bundesliga right now. I still don't feel like there's enough goals. This is where I get what you're saying with Lukaku. Is there enough goals in the team?
Yeah.
What about there's another name that we've avoided.
What do we do?
In relation to
Yeah.
Dembele, because if
Raheem
Dembele is
Sterling.
an option, no, forget Sterling. But personally, anyway, I wouldn't touch him. Rafinha.
Rafinha, Gabriel Jesus, Mahrez. These three. This is where conversations get interesting. I forgot all about these guys. Hold on a second.
I wasn't really impressed with the way Rafinha ended the season. I thought he was really going to galvanize Leeds and put Everton under the pressure. It seemed like Rafinha crumbled as well as Leeds was crumbling. Super player. Don't get me wrong. Super player. I would still go with, because for me, so who did I go with? Lukaku, Dembele, Ziyech, Havertz, and Pulisic as my fifth.
Yeah.
So where am I putting Rafinha? Do you know what I mean? Who am I bringing Rafinha on for?
Would you keep Lukaku, Younes?
If I had my way, no.
All right, well, you have your way, so no.
No, but I agree. No, like
you have your way.
But this is the thing. We have to be realistic as well, and that's as we said at the beginning. And I agree with Miz. I don't see anyone coming in for him, especially on that salary, that fee. I don't.
From Ireland.
All right, let's do business.
Irish league.
Yeah, Lukaku signs for Linfield. I don't see anyone coming in, especially 325k a week. All of that, I just don't think. And if he wants to stick around and he's having talks and he wants to try and really push himself at Chelsea, I think Tuchel will give him one more season. So I think he's gonna stay. Although if there was a club out there that could come in and take him and we get a replacement, happy days, I would do that. But I think he stays. So we'll keep Lukaku as one of the, again, for me, I say one of the four. I might have actually four. Lukaku.
Breaking news.
Oh,
what?
Dembele.
What is it? No, is he signing for Barcelona?
He's going to PSG.
Who?
Oh, he's killing Mbappe, bro.
Dembele is going to PSG. I'm telling you, it's a French journalist that's just reported it in French as well. It reads,
that changes my list,
isn't it?
Dembele is confirmed to Barcelona. He is leaving for PSG and hasn't accepted the Catalans' latest contract, and he's put his house in Barcelona up for sale. Obviously, we know Mbappe is the sporting director now. So he obviously wants Dembele.
It wasn't one of his clauses that he wanted him. One of his clauses was he wants Dembele. So
Dembele will replace Di Maria.
I'm taking Neymar. Change my lineup, bro. Neymar for me, bro. I'm taking Neymar, bro. If it's not Dembele, it's Neymar, bro.
How will we afford Neymar? I'm not. You're being silly.
Yeah, he's going to PSG.
So I've just taken Dembele out of it now.
Fabrizio's put Barca have not received any final communication yet, but there's a meeting with his agent on Monday. PSG, yeah, it's looking like
upset
PSG.
now.
Do you want me to tell you?
Okay, that changes everything.
My forward
do
line
this whole
so
podcast
far,
again, bro.
My forward line so far is Gabriel Jesus instead of Lukaku.
You take Jesus.
Yeah, Havertz, Ziyech, and
I
then
don't want.
It's either both. No, bro. City leftovers is our fucking. It's our whole meal.
I don't want it.
Would you take Mahrez? You would take Mahrez, 100%.
Instantly.
Instantly.
It's his Algerian brother.
Conversation over. I know. I wouldn't see Sterling is someone. Sterling is someone that worries me. But I would take Jesus, and I would take, because Jesus is, again, he's a player that's good in tight space. He can play all across the front line.
Are they clinical enough?
I think he can get more clinical. I think he's got more goals in his game. I think this guy has something to, and he presses as well from the front. I think he's a good blend of what we try to do, but then also what we lack as well, because he can go past players. I would honestly, at 32 million or whatever it is, 35 million, I would go and get Jesus. I would have Havertz. I would have in the ideal situation, I think Bowen would be good for us because he's direct and he wants to score goals. However, you could sub him in for maybe Rafinha if you wanted Younes. And that left wing, though, this is where you probably right now have to add Pulisic in, just because we don't have any left wingers on this. But Jesus can play on the left, can play on the right. I don't know.
This for me,
Miz is pissed.
Miz is depressed.
I'm just upset, bro. I can't be bothered anymore.
I don't even know who the left winger could even be at this point. In Cuckoo,
Needed a marquee signing, bro. Needed a marquee signing.
I mean, yeah, we're meant to be getting a statement signing. Who is that going to be? I don't know. But Lukaku. Personally, look, my list would be Lukaku because he's staying.
You keep him. Okay.
Havertz, one of Ziyech or Pulisic. I don't think both.
Okay, hold on, let me do this.
I'd be more inclined to go with Ziyech. I do think, and on what we've read as well, that Chelsea are open to offers if they're good enough for Ziyech. But Pulisic has talks with the club this summer, so who knows what's going to happen there. From an American standpoint, I think he stays.
So for you, I've got Ziyech or Pulisic.
They're score goals next season.
Lukaku,
coming for you if Pulisic doesn't score.
I don't know if I have the patience, man.
Personally, I'd choose Ziyech. Between Ziyech and Pulisic, I'd go Ziyech.
And then you've got Havertz, Lukaku. Who's the other guys?
I'd go Broja. I'd keep Broja.
Wow. Okay.
Broja.
You're not as hyped as you were earlier on
the
season, Miz. What happened?
I am. It's just I'm a bit worried about Broja being one of the. I want him to still learn. I think I'm definitely hyped. I like the guy. Don't get me wrong. I like the guy. He tailed off hard for half the season. I expected him from January till the end of the season really grab the bull by the horn and be in the conversation as the young player of the season. Do you know what I mean?
Although again, I mean, we have to take into context of who they're playing for. Southampton, at times it's not down to just the individual; it can be down to the team. I think the same with Rafinha and Leeds. Leeds are a mess defensively. So, I mean, look at Jota at Wolves, for example. Even though he was doing well, but there were times where Wolves just looked blank and he looked blank. But he's a good player. He's gone to Liverpool and smashed it. I think in terms of individually, those are lads that can offer more with higher caliber players around them. So,
and who would be your last option?
Yeah. Well, now I was going to say Dembele. That's in the bin as of 5 minutes ago. So my gut is telling me to possibly go with Rafinha.
All right, because we do have to wrap up. I'm meant to be on another show, but this is I'm going to put down at the bottom because I didn't realize how long we was going for. I'm going to put this down at the bottom. Who we've got? My God, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know if I even like I'm settled on this attack, but it's just impossible to settle on.
I'm just not entirely sure if all the attackers that we've all selected, now that we've taken Dembele off, and I get what Matisse said. What is our objective? Probably top 4 next season. I just don't think this is a forward line that can close the gap with City and Liverpool. I just don't think. I just don't get that vibe.
All right, screw it. We're getting Lewandowski, we're getting Neymar, and getting Mahrez.
This is what I've got at the bottom of your screen. This is what I've got.
This is Younes' team, yeah?
Well, it's kind of a blend of everybody's team. Like I've taken
out the names we've really mentioned.
I took out Dest to keep Kostic in because I feel like Kostic is way better than Dest. And then
can Kostic play right side though?
No, he plays left. Then Perisic.
You got
right.
Evan Perisic. Okay.
Yeah, I just feel like Kostic is just, and Chilwell's like more of an unknown quantity than James, fitness wise, because obviously the long term injury. I've kept
defensively. I think we look good.
Yeah, attacking.
Defensively, I think we look good. Midfield, I think, was stacked to an extent.
Yeah.
Attacking wise, though, there's holes.
Anyway, we're gonna wrap up.
Havertz has a 40% conversion. He needs to up that, man. Next season.
God, I'm worried already just by looking at it. All right, Younes, let them know where to find you. We got to wrap up the episode. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below as well. What you think with the team? We're clearly not decided on this. We're just kind of we only are leaving it because we have to go. But I think next week we'll continue these conversations. We'll see if anything's happened in the market. But yeah, Younes, let them know where to find you.
Well, just quickly, I've seen Santi Auna, journalist, reliable apparently, saying it is not true that Dembele has told Barcelona he will leave.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. We're not quite sure what's going on.
Come on, Dottie. Come on, Dottie.
But yeah, for me, obviously right here, Younes Talks Football. The last watch along of the season will be the Champions League final, so that's on Saturday. Up until that point, it's just transfer news and the latest and what's happening across football, not just Chelsea. So yeah,
there you go. And Miz, let them know where to find you. We're a pleasure as always.
Yeah, man, it's been a fantastic conversation. The other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, just crossed 12,000. I think now it's 12.1. Crossed 12,100 as well. So let's help out as much as we can, try and get that 15,000 and then move to 20. Yeah, much like Younes, you're most likely going to get on a regular basis 2 uploads, one in the morning, one sort of maybe afternoon, evening, just wrapping up more transfer news, by my opinion on them as well. Every now and then we may get a truth bomb that might pops up from time to time. If I'm feeling very frustrated, very annoyed about certain things, I'll have that. I'll try my level best to do the Champions League watch along, but I am mindful that I will be landing in Sydney only a few hours before that. So I don't know if I'm going to be up for it. So we'll see.
Guys, make sure you subscribe to both channels. Here we're pushing for 25k. We're only about 400 away now, so we're almost there. Double uploads sometimes if there is stuff to talk about, but definitely one a day at the minimum. And obviously this will come out as well for you guys. So yeah, big up. Make sure you subscribe to all the channels, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.